This is Living Healthy with Your Health Potential, where we explore your options for better health. Brought to you in association with The Woman in You.
Hi, welcome to Living Healthy. I'm your host, Cheryl Worthington-Turgeon. It's not uncommon for women to suffer lifelong issues such as depression and anxiety-based disorders, making it difficult to move on after living through a life crisis. Today, we'll be talking to Joanie Winberg about how to survive a life crisis. Joanie is a communication corporate trainer, certified human behavior consultant, divorce mentor, and the founder of the Healing and Wellness Retreat Center for Women, providing educational programs to empower women, helping them to regain their confidence, build self-esteem, and create a foundation of life skills, enhancing the quality of life for themselves and their children. Welcome, Joanie.
Thank you. Well, great to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you here.
Thanks.
You know, there are life challenges that affect all of us, from divorce to death of a loved one to a serious illness like cancer. What should people going through something like that do first?
I think the first thing is to make sure that you're taking good care of yourself, as I call it, self-care. Usually in a crisis, we're so busy taking care of everyone else. And then when you start to notice that you're not sleeping, or you might be short with others, impatient, just not even able to make great decisions or good decisions, and that usually means that you're not taking good care of yourself. A way to tell, and maybe you've noticed this in yourself too, is certain parts of our body are giving us red flags, like we have a stiff neck or sore shoulders, or just different parts, there's a red flag. So that usually says if your neck is bothering you or your shoulders are bothering you. Some women say their stomach, or just overall, that's usually your body giving you a red flag to say that, as I call it, your energy tank, which is on empty. And I actually compare the energy tank to that of the gas tank of your car. When your gas tank is on empty, you can't go anywhere. It's the same thing if you are on empty. How can you be the best you can be for your family or even for yourself? So the first thing is I make sure that people have, or women especially, have the understanding that you've got to start with yourself. I actually give the information that 10 minutes a day can create a happier you.
Oh, and how do you do that?
Well, at some basic things, once again, thinking of the red flags. I just got this red flag from my body saying, okay, I'm just not, I don't have any energy today. As one woman said to me one time, my energy tank is bone dry. So she said, I have nothing left to give. So what we did is to have her be aware that 10 minutes a day can help you be happier. The first thing, though, 3 tips to do that. The first one is to give yourself permission. I think this is difficult for women, to give yourself permission that you deserve this time for yourself to recharge. I call it recharging your batteries, especially to do it without guilt. That's usually pretty big, is the guilt. I used to think when my children were little and I was overwhelmed, I was a single mom at that time, I used to think, oh, I'm taking away from my children. But I realized that how can I be a good mom or the best I can be if I'm not recharged or my energy tank is on empty?
Exactly.
So I knew I had to take that time for myself. I owed it to them, and I owed it to myself. So the first one is to make sure that you're giving yourself permission and that it's okay to do this. Number 2 is to mark it on your calendar. We tend to forget, but we'll get around to it. And if you exercise once a week or whatever you're doing, that's great. But we need to recharge every day, I think, anyways. So mark it on your calendar. Several women have told me that they mark it on their calendar at 7 in the morning, so they maybe get up a little bit earlier than the rest of the family, and they just enjoy and taste the coffee, enjoy what they're having for breakfast. One woman said, I'm tasting the bagel. I never used to I used to inhale it. Gulp the coffee, inhale, run around the house doing little tasks that I needed to do before I went to work. She says, now that is my time. I sit down and enjoy the coffee, I taste it, I relax, and I'm recharged every morning. It just depends on your schedule. You know, choose which is best for you. So make sure, though, that that is on your calendar and treat it like you would a dentist or a doctor's appointment. Exactly. We wouldn't just all of a sudden say, we're not going. Just like if you see that your time is at 2 in the afternoon, and if someone says, can you meet me at 2? I always say, I'm busy, but I don't have to necessarily say, I'm busy recharging my own batteries.
Right.
But I'm busy, and that's my time set aside. So keep those appointments for yourself.
Yeah.
It's important.
And to really feel that it's a commitment that you're making to yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And 3 is keep it simple. You know, I had one lady said to me, I'm going to do some yoga. And I said, great. And she said, but I need to go out and buy the outfit, get the mat. And I said, you know, just sit down and breathe. You know, just get right into it. Don't make it complicated. It could be as simple as sitting in your favorite chair with your favorite cup of tea or taking a walk. I mean, 10 minutes is the starting point. We hope that it can be longer. And if you just go and take a walk, but make sure that you leave your list of to-do things at home. I had one woman say to me, Joanie, I took a walk, but I don't feel refreshed. And I said, well, what were you thinking when you were out there? She said, I was thinking about everything I needed to do when I get back.
Right.
I said, so
it's not going to do it, is it?
I said, okay, your assignment is when you go out to take a walk next time, I want you to come back, email me 5 things that you notice that's going on in your neighborhood. She was amazed. She said, oh my goodness, so-and-so has a new fence. They painted their house. She never even knew of these things going on because she was physically walking, but mentally not there, not present.
Right.
So keep it simple. Sit down and just breathe. Have a cup of coffee or your favorite tea.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you can do, but just keep it simple. So together, once again, the 3 is give yourself permission. You deserve it, no guilt. Number 2, mark it on your calendar. And number 3, keep it simple.
That sounds like wonderful advice.
And guarantee that 10 minutes a day will make a happier you.
I'm sure it will.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
And just thinking about someone who's gone through a serious life-changing condition, their stress level on the scale has to be
off the charts.
Yeah, yeah. So what else would you say to them in order to just
De-stress.
Yeah.
Yes. First of all, we have to be aware that we're stressed or overwhelmed. A lot of people live that way normally, that they don't know that they are living that way. To them, this is the norm. So,
and what would be some indications? You mentioned the sore shoulders and the neck.
Usually it's the body that's giving you the red flags. And if you've lived with that for quite a long time, you just think, well, I need an aspirin or something. I have a, you know, I'm feeling, you know, like I have a stiff neck or pain in my shoulders. But that's usually the big thing. Or even just, like I said, check your behavior. If all of a sudden people around you, you're snapping or your patience aren't there and you can't seem to make a decision. When I first got divorced, I think that was the big indicator for me. I just couldn't make decisions. I felt so overwhelmed. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm in a fog.
Clue.
So for me, that was my big red flag. With stress, I always ask when I'm doing my workshops, is stress self-inflicted? And a lot of people say, no, or I'm not sure, but stress is self-inflicted. And there's 2 different kinds. There's internal stress and there's external stress. Internal stress is when we don't need anybody else's help. We have amped up our emotions and thought about something to such a degree that we've created, whether sadness or emotions or anger, and then we react. So We don't need anyone's help. We've done it all by ourselves. That's internal.
Basically ruminating over something.
Amping it up over and over and over again. It's actually a formula that I use for people to be aware that my thoughts equal my emotions equal my behavior. Where you want to stop is before my behavior. I'm sure we know of people, not that it would be us, but I'm sure we know of people that have put their foot in their mouth and reacted because of their emotions and regret it, wish they hadn't said that or done that. So when you're feeling upset about something or emotional, you want to stop right there and say, what's going on? What have I just been thinking about that's caused these emotions, whether I'm feeling sad or angry or what? And before I react, let's go backwards. Let's think about what I was just thinking about that's created that. So that's internal stress. You could be in bed at night, comfortable or in a comfortable bed and not be able to sleep. The mind's working overtime. And that's exactly what's going on. There's nobody stopping us. It's ourself. So that's a good example of tossing and turning. And then when you become aware, thinking, what is going on? I just can't seem to shut it off. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
The external, this is when you could be having a wonderful day, but the people around you are having a bad day.
Okay.
Whether they're angry or frustrated. And misery loves company. People love to vent and suck you in, pull you in. And they usually can do that if we're not aware and we allow them to do that. So once you become aware that I'm having a wonderful day, but this person just pulled me in, and now after they're venting, do you ever notice that after someone has vented with you that they feel great and you feel heavy?
Yeah.
You've just taken it all in.
Kind of drained.
Yeah, so once you train yourself, these are all skills. So once you train yourself to say, you know, I'm having a great day. I notice this person's having a bad day. You want to support them, but you don't have to take it in. So I acknowledge to them and say, you know, I'm sorry that you're having a bad day. Or, Sally, it sounds like you're having a bad day today. So what have I really done? I've helped them, I've mirrored them and handed it back.
Yeah.
I haven't taken it in. And that's a choice.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to be there for them. I support them, but I don't have to feel that way.
And actually, you're not helping them any by taking it in.
No.
Are you?
No, you're joining them in their misery.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, I want them to join me in my good day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's really important to be aware that we have a choice every time we're feeling stressed. Is this internal? Am I creating this all by myself? Or is someone just brought me into their stressful moment?
Right.
So it's really, once you become conscious of that, you really can help yourself de-stress really quickly and easily.
Yeah.
But you have to be aware. That's the big thing.
Well, that's a great step. And, you know, I know that you created a retreat center for people that have been going through one of these life crises. Can you tell me what your inspiration was for doing that, as well as the type of group that you usually invite?
We work with women, cancer survivors, cancer patients. And as a corporate trainer and a speaker, I was actually speaking to a cancer survivor group one time. And I was amazed that their meeting was in the hospital, where they had just had treatment for I don't know how long. I was amazed of that to begin with. I'm thinking, do you really want to go back there? That just struck me a little bit odd. But they were in a room with no windows off of the cafeteria. And I just thought, I haven't been through what you ladies have been through, but I'm discouraged, depressed sitting here. It just didn't seem to me, why not encourage them and give them some joy and help them get back on their feet.
And I'd like to talk to you more about that in just a moment.
Sure.
I'd like to remind our viewers that they're watching Living Healthy. And today we're talking to Joanie Winberg, about how to survive a life crisis. So, Joanie, you were just saying that people would be really depressed sitting in the hospital and
Well,
talking.
they were discouraged. I just didn't feel a sense of, I survived, and now
Yeah.
how can I move on with my life? And I just sensed that. So I thought, why not create a special day for the women? We can all use a special day. I didn't create a retreat like for a weekend or anything. Just a day, because usually we can pick up and go easier. And that's what I was trying to do, is to have women just pick up and go, not to make it complicated. And women can make it complicated when it's a weekend. It's like, all right, how many suitcases and shoes and clothes? And, so it's like, okay, for one day, grab your backpack, in the summer, throw a towel, sunscreen, a hat in, and go. And you try to keep it so it represents simplicity in their life. And I think this is what they need. So the way they spend their day is they come from 8:30 to 4:30, come by limo, leave by limo, and I'm honored that you were with us with your
thank you.
nutritious, healthy living food.
It was wonderful to be there.
It was great. It was really good. And we helped them along with drinking something that was green. They did pretty good.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, everybody tried it.
They did, and
Which
some
was
came
great.
back for more.
Yep.
So they, like for example, worked with you and just understood how to eat healthy and choices, that they have choices. And then they work with a yoga teacher. Then I work with coping skills. And then we give them a nice 2-hour break for lunch as well. That's their bonding time. And then the massage therapist comes and works with them. And then we do other workshops depending on the day, because we can do different kinds. But they just feel so pampered and so special. They don't want to leave. They always inform me right around 4:30 that we're staying over or we're staying here, or whatever it is. So to me, it's just the joy of seeing them appreciate themselves, realize that they still have a lot to be thankful for. We're helping them build their self-esteem, their confidence, and that they are special. They're unique. I always say to them, you're already magnificent just the way you are.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So to me, it's dear to my heart.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing that?
About 4 years.
That's so nice. I think that must really help the women tremendously, just to have such a nurturing day.
Definitely. And just to see them laugh and have fun, be silly. I always tell them, you have my permission to be silly. Let it go. Usually within 5 minutes, if they have their scarves or their wigs on, they'll say, can we take these off? I said, please, be yourself.
And what kind of comments have you gotten? What do they take with them from the day?
It's different for all of them, but I see the common theme is that you've shown me how to relax again. You've shown me that I am important, how to move on, and self-care, once again, so that they can continue just believing in themselves, moving on. Sometimes from what they have told me, that the family sometimes, people want the normal lifestyle to be back so much. I'm sure it's been a very tough challenge and difficult situation. And this one woman said, it will never be the same way as it used to be. And you want to make it as normal as you can. But this just helps me relax and be who I can be, the best I can be, and not be stressed, and help the family adjust as well. So once again, it's always that core of helping ourselves first and starting with self-care.
Yeah. And I'm sure being with other women who have gone through the same thing, it would help them to not feel so alone.
Oh, yes. They really bond. They leave with each other's emails and just really just happy to connect and have had that connection.
Oh, that's excellent. So going back to stress for a moment, Is there anything else that you would recommend that people do either during the crisis or after the crisis?
It's probably all of the above, because
Yeah.
stress, like I said, most people think of that as a normal lifestyle. If we can become conscious once again and be aware that we're stressed, I do what I call a stress energy ladder for women. If you can picture a stick ladder, and at the bottom of that ladder is the negative, low energy. And you can even just think of words that represent that, like anger, frustration, depression, lack of time, lack of money. Even when you just say those words, you feel heavy.
Yeah.
And then at the top of the ladder is the high energy, the positive energy. And so that could be love, happiness, laughter, abundance, joy. And you can almost feel yourself shift. And that's the light energy. In fact, I always say to women, we want to work our way towards the top of the ladder, because when we're feeling that way, all of a sudden the right people show up in our lives, the right phone call comes in, and that's because we're at high energy and we're feeling that positive frame of mind. But life gives us challenges, and we can end up at the bottom of the ladder, and as one woman said, I'm in the muck. So we kind of laugh about that and say, if you're in the muck, you want to be aware. It's okay, I'm in the muck. What do I do from here? Okay, I have to be aware I'm in the muck. I don't want to be here. It's not going to help to keep amping up the negative thoughts. It's going to keep me here. I don't want to be here. So how do I start climbing that ladder? How do I help myself?
Right.
So a couple things I always give them for suggestions, and I always tell them, pick two that work best for you. Whether you're learning to be present in the moment, using all your senses to pull yourself in, whether you're using a gratitude notebook or journal and maybe three
That's a wonderful
that's a good
thing
one
to do.
My favorite is to focus on what's working right. No matter what's going on, there's a silver lining there somewhere. So it could be very little, but focus on what's going right. Another one is just keep on laughing. That's the express elevator from the muck to the top. The other one would be create a vision for yourself. Maybe do a collage and dream of all the things that you love in your life. Also feed the mind with CDs and books. You know, I had one client who had a 20-minute commute, and she'd be so stressed by the time she got home. And I said, how about in that 20 minutes you play your favorite music or listen to some inspiring CD? And she said, what a difference.
Oh, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Another one is go to your memory bank. Think of things that instantly bring a smile to your face when you think of those things. And I always think about looking at your perspective. You know, how are you looking at things, and be aware of that. So those are just some things that I suggest to the women during the workshops. Pick two that resonate for you the most. So when you're in the muck, then you become aware. You think, it is what it is, I got to move on, I don't want to be here, how do I help myself? And then choose those two, and then start to feel yourself moving up the ladder. Maybe you don't go all the way to the top, that's okay, but we celebrate along the way.
Oh, yes.
Every little step, pat yourself on the back, do something that's great for you, makes you feel good about yourself, and celebrate. But just realize that life, when you're in the muck, you really are stuck. You really are. And what's amazing is to practice a skill. Once again, it's a skill. I know from past, before I knew this skill, I would be stuck in the muck, could be a week at a time, 2 weeks. And then as I learned this skill, all of a sudden it would be just a week. And then it would be a few days. And then it would just be a day. Now it's like 10 minutes.
Fantastic.
Because you're just so aware. It's like, hey, I'm in the muck. Life is tough here. I don't want to be here. So let's just, how do I shift? And you instantly do it.
You know, I read about a woman who had lost her son in a tragic accident. And what she did is she focused every day on something, small things, to be grateful for. One day she looked out the window and she saw a rose. And she really appreciated that rose. And she said that's how she put one foot in front of the other.
Great advice for any of the life crisis like that, yes.
Yeah. And when you think about someone with such a tremendous tragedy in their lives, being able to do it, then it really says to the rest of us, come on, you can do this, you know?
Right, exactly. These are little things, and I'm sure you still would have your moments, and that's not to say that not to have them, but it's to help yourself for every little thing you can do. And it's all about skills that we need, and have them be part of your toolbox of your tools.
Yeah.
So when you're feeling stressed, or you're thinking, okay, I've been running myself ragged, I haven't taken my 10 minutes today. That shows up pretty quick when you don't take your 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm exhausted, what's going on here? I need to recharge. But these are things that I have used myself, and everything that I teach in my workshops, it's because I've used them myself, and they work. So I know they do.
That's great to hear. And I wonder if you have any advice that you could give people in terms of sometimes when you're in the muck, as you say, it's hard to even see your way out. How do you remember to do some of these things?
It becomes that skill just that quick, because you just associate the feeling that you're feeling in the muck. And you just know that, oh, I've been here before. I don't like it here. I know it's going to be tough if I don't get out of here. Give yourself a break, and don't be hard on yourself. Maybe you only inch up to the first step on that ladder, but that's okay. I always say that's good enough.
Wonderful advice. Do you have any last parting words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
I always just say, keep on laughing, keep on smiling. We have choices every minute of the day of how we want to feel. And I don't know, I just get excited to pass it on, help it be catchy to someone else.
And you are spreading light.
Oh,
you
thanks.
really are. Thanks so much for joining
Thank you.
us. For more information on Joanie Winberg, visit www.skillsforpeople.com. You can also contact her at 508-947-2750 or email her at jw@joanwinberg.com. You've been watching Living Healthy, and I'm your host, Cheryl Worthington Turgeon. See you next time.